Hello and welcome to the Capitol Report on Entity Television. I'm Steve Lance. What's the future for Congress as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy faces the most severe test yet to his speakership? Entity's Iris Tao brings us more from Capitol Hill.
In a historic vote today, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was ousted from his speakership position as 8 Republicans voted with all Democrats to remove him from that position. And that is shocking because it's the first time ever that happened in U.S. history. And it happened after Congressman Vacate, a Republican from Florida, filed a motion to vacate on Monday night. He was complaining that the debt ceiling deal McCarthy struck with President Biden, as well as the short-term funding bill that was just passed this week to keep the government funded, did not include enough spending cuts that they were demanding. And it asked Congressman Gates as well as Congressman Tim Burchett, who also voted to oust McCarthy, about if they're concerned about the future of the conservative agenda as well as the future of the House GOP. Here's what they told me.
I would say that the conservative agenda was being paralyzed by Speaker McCarthy. We hadn't even sent a subpoena to Hunter Biden. Our oversight was lackluster. Our spending priorities were misaligned. The best way to advance the conservative agenda is to move forward with a new speaker.
I think the conservative agenda is as strong as it's ever been. I mean, we just proved it right there. We've got runaway spending and we want to get control of it.
And of course, now the biggest question is what's coming next. For now, Republican Congressman Patrick McHenry, which is a close ally to McCarthy, who voted against ousting McCarthy, will serve as the temporary acting House Speaker. But next, there will need to be a new House Speaker election, just like the one that unfolded in January. And actually today, Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin told me that he would actually like to get a Democratic congressman, and that is the Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, to be the next House Speaker. Here's what I asked him. Do you or your Democratic colleagues reach out to some moderate Republicans to raise the idea that maybe vote for Jeffries to become the Speaker?
Yes, and I've already done that. I've spoken to a bunch of my Republican colleagues, and I said, if you're tired of the chaos and you're tired of the dysfunction and you're tired of the circus show, vote for Hakeem Jeffries. He's super well organized.
Meanwhile, as McCarthy just lost his job, he remained defiant. And actually just this afternoon, right before he went into the House chamber for the votes, I asked him, would you try to stay and fight to get your gavel back? And he asked me back, do I not have it right now? And apparently now he does not have it anymore. And actually earlier today, this is how he responded to this attempt to oust him. Let's take a look.
If you throw a speaker out that has 99% of their conference, that kept government open and paid the troops, I think we're in a really bad place for how we're going to run Congress. They're turning the floor over to the Democrats.
And let's not forget that Congress still faces a November 17 deadline to fund the government. So let's see how this new change in House speakership will affect upcoming talks when it comes to budget.
In the president's home state of Delaware, Hunter Biden appearing in federal court, pleading not guilty to gun charges. One big question, what are the political implications for President Biden's re-election bid? NTD's Melina Wisecup joins us with more from the courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware.
For the first time, the president's son is fighting criminal charges in federal court. Hunter Biden is on the hook for 3 felony charges. Prosecutors argue that Hunter Biden possessed a firearm illegally while addicted to drugs and then lied about it. When he arrived at this courthouse for the arraignment at 10 a.m. this morning, that entire arraignment process took less than half an hour, and the judge says that Hunter Biden has passed multiple rounds of drug tests that he's taken since July, when that original plea deal fell apart. As for the political implications for President Biden himself, Democrats on Capitol Hill have repeatedly argued that his son's actions should cast no shadow over the image of the sitting president. Meanwhile, Republicans argue that the DOJ gave Hunter Biden special treatment and slow-walked the case.
Hunter Biden's not on the ballot.
I think the only thing the president is guilty of is being a father, and I mean that sincerely.
If we were in a majority, nobody would be knowing anything about any of this stuff, and the Department of Justice was going to cover it up like they've been doing the last several years.
And if DOJ and the FBI and IRS have seen and would investigate what we've seen and would do this investigation, I imagine this will be the first of many indictments for Hunter Biden.
So if they are going to say there should be more charges against Hunter Biden, they don't know what they're talking about.
Meanwhile, House Republicans are continuing to probe Hunter Biden's foreign business deals, trying to tie that foreign cash flow back to the president himself. Now, as for this particular case that Hunter Biden faced here in this courthouse today, his lawyers will ultimately try to dismiss the case, mainly using a recent Supreme Court ruling on guns. Reporting from Wilmington, Delaware, Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
It's day 2 of what's expected to be a months-long trial of a financial fraud case filed by New York Attorney General Letitia James, who once campaigned on the platform that she was going to go after Trump. NTD's legal correspondent Arlene Richards is at the courthouse with an update.
Judge Arthur Engoron hit the former president with a gag order on Tuesday afternoon related to a post that he made on Truth Social about a court clerk. The post was taken down after 2 meetings. The judge later said that if it happens again, there will be serious consequences. This morning, the state's first witness, Donald Bender, returned to the stand. Bender is an accountant who worked for the Trump Organization for decades. The state's attorney questioned the witness document by document dating back to 2011 up to 2020. Bender testified that the Trump defendants were responsible for providing the valuations contained in the financial statements. He said that he had no knowledge of whether or not they were fraudulent and that if he knew, he would not have submitted them. This testimony supports the state's contention that the Trump defendants repeatedly committed fraud by inflating the valuation of their assets. On cross-examination, the defense established that there are accounting laws that should be considered in this case, which would show that the defendants acted lawfully, and that Bender should have been aware of those laws during his review. Bender admitted that he worked for the Trump Organization for at least 30 years and that the Trump Organization frequently consulted him about its entities and other business matters. The defense repeatedly questioned Bender about why he failed to alert Trump in 2017 about a significant error on the financial statement. Bender said he missed it. The former president said he will return to the court on Wednesday.
The VP on Capitol Hill today, Vice President Kamala Harris, swearing in LaFonza Butler as California's newest senator. Butler was appointed by Governor Gavin Newsom to replace the late Senator Dianne Feinstein. Newsom had promised to name a black woman to the upper chamber. The appointment ensures that Democrats maintain their one-seat majority in the Senate. Butler is a longtime union leader and pro-abortion advocate. She previously served as a campaign advisor to then California Senator Kamala Harris, as well as to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in their bids for the White House. Congressman Henry Cuellar of Texas speaking out after being carjacked in Washington, D.C. by multiple attackers armed with guns last night.
I looked at one with a gun, another with a gun, up the one behind me. So they said they wanted my car. I said, sure, you got to keep calm in those situations. And then they took off. They recovered the car. They recovered everything. I do want to thank the Capitol Police, and I certainly want to thank the Metro Police. I'm a big law enforcement person. I got 3 brothers in law enforcement, so I certainly appreciate the good work that the police did last night.
The White House today also commenting on the attack, pointing out the president's past actions to combat crime.
Let's not forget there were billions of dollars in his American Rescue Plan so that local communities and state and federal police as well, law enforcement, were able to make sure that they had the funding so that they can hire more law enforcement.
Last night's carjacking was the second assault in D.C. this year on a member of Congress. In February, Democratic Representative Angie Craig of Minnesota was assaulted in her apartment building. She suffered minor injuries, and multiple congressional staffers have been attacked in the district this year. There have been no arrests so far in the congressman's attack. Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.